Hello, welcome to this week's Talking Film. My name's Daniel, and we have Nick on the other side. And I know we're a bit late, but we've had some technical difficulties with our internet browsers. Um, but we'll get straight into the discussion because we've got so much news and so much to talk about, especially with the box office, that we probably won't even fit this in the half now. So let's get on to our movie discussion, and we're going to discuss Tomorrowland and Jurassic World. And Nick, where do you want to start off first? Tomorrowland?
Tomorrowland, because it's the older one of them and not what everybody's talking about right now. But I think it's important to touch on it because it is Disney. It's Disney's first flop, really, since since The Lone Ranger. And I think it's important to talk about because it's an original film and it's Brad Bird that directed it. I want to be nice to it because it's Brad Bird. And I mean, last week I started talking about it because we had technical difficulties. I didn't get to finish, and I said I actually quite liked it, and it does have a nice. I have got my review up now, so you can read it for yourself. But it does have a charming quality to it. I think that does redeem it somewhat, and it has a message to it that's heartfelt. And so it's not a terrible film. It's just a disappointing film, I believe. It could have been so much better with a better script. It had so much more potential. And I think if Brad Bird had written and directed, it would have been a great film, just like all of Brad Bird's other films. But just that narrative really lets down what could like some decent characterization and a decent message and heart of the film. And it's just it doesn't hold up as a story, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. And well, technically, Brad Bird didn't write Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol, so he directed that one, and that turned out fantastic. And he also co-wrote this movie with Damon Lindelof, I think that's his name.
Yeah,
and go on.
But I think that Lindelof is responsible for a lot of the film's flaws.
Exactly. And I was a bit worried when I heard that he was the screenwriter for Tomorrowland, and I thought he's like hit or miss. He did a fantastic job with Star Trek Into Darkness. I thought he did a really good job on that screenplay, but then he has Prometheus, which there was just so many questions unanswered, and now Tomorrowland. I thought Brad Bird was going to be like J.J. Abrams, probably like rewrite the film and just make it a little bit stronger than what it was originally. But sadly, that's not the case here, which surprisingly, because Brad Bird is such a master storyteller.
And he's always I follow him on Twitter, and he's always championing original movies, original sci-fi, and he knows a good film when he sees one, but it just seems a bit weird that he's made a film that's not that great when he knows what a great film looks like when he sees one and a bad film looks like when he sees one. And it's 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, so 50% liked it, 50% hated it. It's very, very down the middle, but the general consensus is it's not great.
Yeah. And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to say you sort of find this movie disappointing because there are so much things done excellent. There's so many things done right in this movie. It's just there's so many other problems that just outweighs the positives of this film.
I think the climax is a big letdown. In one thing, that final act is just like what the WTF moment, what's going on? Why? Anyway, so did you perhaps they could have rewritten the ending to be a little bit more impactful?
Definitely. The ending is I think the third act is definitely the thing that should have been rewritten. If that was rewritten a bit, I think I would have sounded like, yeah, this was a good movie, not a great one, but I was like, it was enjoyable and it was a good movie. It's the third act that really just made it like, yeah, it was like, yeah, I sort of enjoyed it, but had its problems.
Anyway, yeah, that I do think that the two main characters, though, played by George Clooney and Britt Robertson, I think they're very likable, fantastic. So that is the one thing I can say positive about it. But yeah, I don't want to give away any spoilers. It's definitely one if you want to, like, you can read reviews all you want, but you really should make up your own mind because it's one of those films that's divided a lot of people. So even if it's just to support original sci-fi and not make Disney cancel all its sci-fi projects, you should I recommend seeing Tomorrowland if you can.
Yeah. And speaking of dividing, even though I think I'm in the minority here with this movie, Jurassic World. I know you liked it. You
This
enjoyed
is
it
going
more
to
than
be
I did.
interesting. This is so we're on the general consensus with Tomorrowland. We both kind of agree with each other. Jurassic World, however, is a very interesting one because it's not just the two of us that seem to disagree, but everybody in the whole of the internet and the whole of everybody that's seen it just seems to have a completely different opinion for different reasons about what Jurassic World is like, why it's good and why it's bad, and what it hits and what it misses. And I think, well, you go first since you are in the minority.
Okay.
You go first.
Okay. Well, spoiler alert, just in case. I don't want to put any spoilers.
There
Just
are
in case.
dinosaurs.
Just in case I say something that no one wants to get spoiled, just spoil it and just skip to the next topic we'll discuss, or just mute it right now. But I found, to me, the story and the characters were the ones I found to be major disappointed in this movie. And you could say, oh, Jurassic Park characters weren't that interesting to begin with either, but at least they had sort of had goals towards it. I can't really remember the names off my top of my head, but I do remember like the major like dinosaur scientists hated kids, and the whole that whole event of Jurassic Park made him open up to the possibilities of having kids with the female scientist. And with this one, I don't know. I just didn't really seem to like the characters as much. Chris Pratt is probably the most likable, and that's just me saying something nice about this movie. But he's Chris Pratt, so you have to like him. But yeah, I didn't like any other characters, and the story was a bit messy. I don't know why we need to focus on the kids. Unlike the first one, where the kids were a part of the story, this one felt like it was like a detour. We were going on a detour of the kids, and I just want to get back to Chris Pratt. I mean, I think they dragged the movie out a bit, but yeah. Your opinions?
All right, so I'm biased because I love dinosaurs, but I went into this movie a little bit worried that it wasn't going to be everything I hoped, and I was fearing it could be like the same kind of level as Jurassic Park 3, which, although it's definitely got the wow factor, Jurassic Park 3 I'm talking about, it's just it really is a letdown in both character and story. And I thought, oh, if Jurassic World's like that, letdown character and story, then not a third Jurassic Park movie in a row to basically fail at recreating the imagination and wonder of the first film, which I watched the night before seeing Jurassic World. I watched Jurassic Park, and so I had a sense of what would make a great Jurassic Park sequel. And when coming out of Jurassic World, I think that's what I found. I think I felt that what it did best of all was recapture the sense that the first Jurassic Park gave me and gave audiences back when it was released. It had the wonder, it had a bit of the horror, a little bit of the amazement, the thrill of the chase. Basically, it had all those individual elements, and it even had that final act is, in my opinion, that climax is amazing. We just talked about Tomorrowland's climax being so anticlimactic, and the climax of Jurassic World is just like it builds up, builds up, builds up, and it completely pays off in the same way that the first film's climax does. It's a very, very well made homage to the first film as well. And I think that, I know after we saw the film together, after we saw the film, we were discussing about. I said that it's just been made as a homage to the original. It's with love of the original, and you said that that doesn't make a good film necessarily, and I agree with you. And I think that sometimes you can have a film that just completely just throws in one-liners, references, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, kind of references to the original. But I don't think Jurassic World's that type of film. It's a homage to the tone, to the wonder, to the feelings that the first one created, and I think that's where it succeeds the most, because it's the first Jurassic Park film, in my opinion, since the first one, that gets the meta commentary on the blockbuster landscape right. Like Jurassic Park at the time was all about technology versus nature, and harnessing nature to create better technology, and how that kind of reflects the rise of CGI at the time of Jurassic Park. Like the technology made everything like more spectacle, but it came at a cost of old school filmmaking, kind of. So you could read that the first Jurassic Park as almost hypocritical of itself. Same goes for Jurassic World. I think that it's hypocritical of itself because it's a commentary on how people are getting tired of big spectacles now. They're tired of the old Jurassic Parks, and they want the Transformers and the Avengers, and they want the big movies. And in this case, they want the big dinosaurs. They want the deadly dinosaurs, and every attraction has to supersede the last, has to be better than the last. And I think the Indominus Rex, which is the main villain of the film, is such a brilliant idea for this kind of meta commentary. I just think that I disagree with you about the characters. I do have a bit of a problem with the overuse of CGI, but I don't quite know why they did that. I think that it was probably just cheaper, and there were so many different scenes they could have used practical effects. But yeah, I think that overall, the message of Jurassic World had a very familiar and nostalgic ring to it that Jurassic Park had, and that's why I loved it mainly. Not just because dinosaurs ate each other. That was just a bonus. That was all awesome too. But it had that wonder for me.
Okay. Well, yeah, I can sort of see with the CGI, but then again,
yeah.
I mean,
so I have two criticisms. That's one of them. The other one is the human villain in it. There is a human villain, and it just seems tacked on. And
again, characters.
Yeah, but I think that Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt's character and their chemistry is really well done. So I disagree with your opinion there. I don't think the kids are very well characterized. I think the kids come across as one-dimensional, but they're not the main characters. We shouldn't really be focusing.
They were like the first human characters we saw in this film.
It was true.
Chris Pratt didn't come till a bit later, so
yeah. Chris Pratt's amazing, by the way, in it. Of course he is. Anyway, I could talk for ages about Jurassic World. We could do a whole different show about Jurassic World because I have so much to say about it, and there's so many different opinions on the internet. There's the sexist talk. There's the special effects complaint. There's the scripts and writing and there's a little bit of cheesiness in it too, but nowhere near as much as Tomorrowland. But I love how unconventional it is for a blockbuster. Yet it's conventional at the same time. It juggles two things at once. It juggles the old school blockbuster with the modern blockbuster, and I think it does that expertly. But anyway.
Cool. Well, that's our opinions on Jurassic World. We should probably get into the news now. And we've got heaps to talk about, especially some news that broke today. So our top news is, of course, Pitch Perfect 3 has been announced now, and it's got a release date for July 21st, 2017, which puts it in the middle between the third Planet of the Apes film and this reboot Spider-Man. And Anna Kendrick and Rebel Wilson are going to return to their roles.
Oh, what terrible scheduling.
Terrible scheduling? I probably wouldn't say so. I'm pretty sure Pitch Perfect 3 is going to dominate that weekend.
Apes 3, that's going to be huge. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, I don't know if it's going to be huge because people might be getting sick of Spider-Man still, even though it's Marvel. I think that they're still, like, the general public might still be too sick of single Spider-Man films. So that'll be interesting. But that's a discussion for 2 years from now.
Yeah, it's like we're talking about now, something that's not going to happen for another 2 years. It's just got announced today.
That's the show. We talk about stuff that happens in 2 years' time and 3 years' time. That's pretty much all we talk about. Pitch Perfect 3. I haven't seen it. I've seen, actually, I correct myself. I've seen the first Pitch Perfect. I've yet to see the second one. I thought the first one's charming. So I don't know. I've heard you didn't like the second one as much as you wanted to.
No,
But
yeah, well, it's not as great as the original, but the second one's fun. I think it's just a fun sequel.
yeah, so I'm not surprised by this news, but go for it. I like this low budget films succeeding like this is good as far as I'm concerned, and Pitch Perfect, like the 21 Jump Street franchise, I think is kind of, it's different audience, but it's a similar kind of low budget, big fan base, high gross kind of. You can kind of draw the parallels there, and I think that Disney needs more of these instead of just going for $200 million blockbusters with every single film they make. And Universal and Sony and is Pitch Perfect? Universal. I thought it was Universal. Yeah, Universal and Sony have these little franchises that I think that just grow the Hollywood. Like, they're not indie, but they're not blockbuster. They're not tentpole. So I like that they're continuing these franchises.
Although, unlike Sony, Universal has a lot of big franchises to
they do now.
Down, so. Yeah, Pitch Perfect 3 was obviously inevitable anyway. So after the money it's making already, so it was going to happen. So yeah, I'm excited for a third one. And next one, after making $758 million last year, it was inevitable that Maleficent 2 would be in the works at Disney, as Linda Wolverton, I'm sorry that last name is wrong, will return to write the follow-up film. What do you think, Nick? Maleficent 2. Did you see the first one?
No.
Oh, great. So I'm going to have my only thoughts on this then.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, I'm not a fan of Angelina Jolie, so that was kind of the main selling point for Maleficent. So obviously I didn't sell me tickets. I didn't hear great things either, especially from you.
The slightly below average film. I don't even know where can you go with a sequel to Maleficent. I don't know where you would take a sequel. I really don't know. Even the way the first film ends, I don't know where you can take the sequel to. And was it well liked from the audience? Maybe is that why they're going to do that? I don't know. I mean, yeah, $758 million is amazing, but was that because of Angelina Jolie? And will that work for the second one? I have no idea.
It's not surprising that they're making this, though. It's just,
yeah.
How many of these huge films can Disney make? This goes back to what I just said with the small franchises. It's already doing these huge, expensive reboots of its fairy tales every year now. It's trying to make that an annual thing, and it's having sequels to some of those, and it's already getting Alice in Wonderland's getting a sequel, and Maleficent's getting a sequel.
Oh no! Please not be Cinderella.
They've got Star Wars, and they've got Marvel, and they've got Pixar, and they've got their own animation studio. Disney, how many of these huge budget things can they make? Surely they're spending the entire gross of Avengers: Age of Ultron just rebooting their their animated movies. So it just seems like they're just throwing money at the wall and hoping that people go and see their movies. And I love Disney. I think they've done a great job with bringing the hype back for Star Wars and Marvel, but their own brand, their Disney brand, needs more work.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking mainly fairy tales, or are you talking about the other films that aren't Marvel and Star Wars?
I'm talking about all the live action Disney films that aren't Marvel and Star Wars. There needs to be more Disney live action films that are original, like Tomorrowland, that actually are good and get lots of money. But that's going to be a while before Disney recovers from Tomorrowland, I think. So now they're just going to keep rebooting their fairy tales and making sequels to the ones that did succeed.
Yeah, mainly the sequels are the ones that didn't even, like, the first ones weren't that good to begin with, like Alice in Wonderland and Maleficent. So they better not do anything to Cinderella, because it's like the only one I've liked so far, live action.
I don't know who makes these decisions, but they're not very good at making decisions. They should be fired.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of maybe bad decisions, get Smurfy, Nick, for a March 31st, 2017 release, with a brand new cast that features Demi Lovato voicing Smurfette, Mandy Patinkin as Papa Smurf, and Rainn Wilson voicing Gargamel. And yes, Get Smurfy is the title of the reboot Smurfs film. I'm assuming that's the title, because that's
I hope
what
that changes. Because, like, seriously, whatever happened to artistic integrity? Whatever happened to films being an artistic medium?
This is a first. This is an animated film that's getting a reboot. I don't think that's yet, like CGI wise.
A reboot of a film that was only made like 4 years ago or something.
Yeah, it's going to Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's depressing. I remember when Smurfs 2 was about to come out and the trailers would play in front of, say, the Pixar movies of that year, or the animated movies I see, or more GP, and be like looking at the screen and just be like, no, not this. And the Smurfs just depresses me. It's just makes me feel really blue and down. And why do they keep making these movies?
Does it make you angry? Does it make you joyful? Maybe disgust? Putting like the inside.
I hope the little film. I hope a little film that I see next week makes me feel those. But this is just like the wrong type of animated movie. If you're going to make an animated studio, there's a lot of them now. You've got to take off the model of Pixar, and to that extent, Walt Disney Animation Studios as well, because they've kind of copied Pixar's model. So I don't know why every animation studio for every studio doesn't model its creative outlook like Pixar's and Disney's, because they are brilliant at the moment. And even DreamWorks has got a couple of gems in there. We'll forget about Home and we'll pretend that didn't happen, and then there's
a lot of things that we forget DreamWorks have made.
Yeah, it's true. But How to Train Your Dragon, obviously, and Kung Fu Panda are the two franchises that stick out for me. So I do think that they need more. If they ever want to be competitive, even Despicable Me, if they ever want to be competitive, they need to make quality animated films. And Get Smurfy does not sound like a quality animated film.
I didn't even thought this was the actual title. When I heard this, I was like, wait, what? The Smurfs 3 is getting now titled Get Smurfy? It's ridiculous. It's the most stupidest name I've ever heard for a film ever.
Yeah, like Alexander and the Terrible, blah, 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 good, horrible, bad a day kind of title, but worse than that.
Yeah, but at least that tells you that this character is going to have this bad, horrible day. But this one is just like, I don't know what.
Ridiculous long title.
Smurfy.
Get Smurfy.
Unless I think that, like, I've never seen the live action Smurfs movies, but they do have like What the Smurf and stuff like that. This actually sounds like this is gonna have like those Smurf puns still in this movie. So it looks like nothing's really changed at all.
It's like, oh, let's reboot it because the two we've made so far are really crap. Let's reboot it and call it something really original and amazing. Get Smurfy. Genius, pay rise, ding ding.
I know it's a reboot. I know they want to stick to that, like CGI animated now. But why are they recasting all their roles? Except for Papa Smurf, I understand that because the voice artist sadly passed away. But everyone else, I mean, Katy Perry, why are they suddenly like replacing everyone for? Are they really want to distance themselves away from the others?
Why would they want to do that? They're just making an even worse movie than.
I know.
It can always get worse.
The first teaser trailer for Zootopia was released online and explains what. Oh my god, I'm gonna say this name wrong. Oh my god,
Anthropomorphic.
Yes, thank you, Nick. To audiences, it's like nothing you've ever seen before. What do you think of it, Nick? Did you see
Before.
Yeah, before.
I have not seen the trailer.
Oh, that's a line they say.
You would have thought I'd seen the trailer.
Yeah.
What day did this come out? This trailer was it on the weekend?
A couple of days ago, I think it might be.
Yeah, it was probably on the weekend. I don't. I had not much time this weekend, but really, I did know it came out, and I saw the still or whatever of the characters. So I'm optimistic about Zootopia, but it does seem like it's treading a little bit too close to Chicken Little territory, in my opinion.
Yeah. Although, I mean, doesn't matter. I mean, I don't think anyone said that. Oh, just because the animals were enclosed, that made Chicken Little terrible. I'm sure it was the story that suffered that movie.
Yeah, that's true. I'm sure. But
so this is like Chicken Little done right, hopefully.
Hopefully. I'm optimistic. I haven't seen the trailer. I have to watch it, and I'll get back to you. But yeah, I haven't seen anything except for that artwork of the Zootopia. Or like there was that artwork that looked amazing. That was really good artwork.
Like I'm excited for this movie because it's Disney, of course. But that's pretty much what the teaser trailer is. It's a white background, the whole trailer, just the characters explaining that there's no humans in this universe. It's all animals, and that's about it. You don't even get the story or.
I don't like those types of teaser trailers. That's why I don't think I
know,
that's one of the reasons.
But at least for this teaser trailer, when I heard it was online, I was like, oh great, we're gonna find out what this world looks like from that concept art. We get nothing of that, and it's called Zootopia. That's the place it's called. We should have got at least what the world looks like.
Yeah, that's true, but it does seem that at least they've got the main characters in this teaser trailer, as opposed to the Frozen teaser trailer.
Yeah, and we got Jason Bateman and is it Jenna Goodwin from Once Upon a Time? They've got some good leads for this movie, so I'm hoping nothing but the best for Zootopia. Cool. And I'm not sure if you've seen it, the final Hunger Games trailer was released for Mockingjay Part 2. Is
that the final trailer?
I mean, the first trailer.
Well, first trailer. Oh wow, I was going to say
the final film.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen this either. I'm getting lazy. No, I did know. I only actually knew this was actually out because of our own page when you posted it on Everything Film, and I didn't watch it, but I'm meaning to watch it. I can't really comment yet, other than to say that I quite enjoyed the first part. I wish it had been one movie and not split. And the book I've read, and the book is kind of a letdown, especially the ending, especially the last half. So, but if
you said Mockingjay, you didn't particularly like the book, and you said Part 1 did it a lot better than what the.
And I said that's what I was about to say. Part 1, the film, did so well with the little the weak source material it had, and so I'm hoping Part 2 does a lot. I mean, it's basically, I think Part 1 ended about 2/3 of the way into the book, so they've got like an entire movie now to flesh out that last third or whatever, to really make a good spectacle. Hopefully it pays off.
Yeah, well, the trailer looks like it's going to be an action-packed film, and with some development of the story, so that could all be happening. And we might as well move on to the box office now. At number 5,
the biggest story of the week, in my opinion.
I know we should have. Why do we move the box office to the end of the show now? I have no idea.
Don't quit on us. This is the biggest story, guys.
At number 5, we have Pitch Perfect 2 with 6 million for a total of 170.7 million. At number 4, we have Insidious Chapter 3 with 7.3 million for a total of 37.4 million. At number 3, we have San Andreas with 11 million for a total of 119.3 million. Number 2, we have Spy with 16 million for a total of 56.9 million. And at number 1, we have the new opening weekend record with Jurassic World with $209 million. Who saw this coming? No one did. I don't think Universal.
No one in the whole universe, not even Universal, saw this coming.
No one saw it.
No one saw it coming.
The dinosaurs ate the Avengers.
The dinosaurs didn't see it coming. Wow. Oh, I'm glad that it's doing well because I liked the film, but I never saw it making this much. I thought Avengers 2 would be. I didn't think Avengers 2 would be topped by anything. Maybe Star Wars. Its opening weekend for this year. But now it has been, and I don't think even Star Wars can topple this thing. I think
I'm hoping, but even though I didn't particularly like this movie, I still bravo for beating out the event.
Yeah, good play.
I didn't even thought there was any real hype towards this movie like the Avengers had. So that's what surprised me.
Oh, I felt it. Individually, I felt it, but I also got the sense that it was really hyped up for based on interactions with other people and on the internet and stuff like that. I've generally got a sense that it did have a lot of build up to it. And when we saw it, remember when we saw it last week, and the line was out the door, and I said, "Oh, I haven't seen the line this long since the Avengers." We should have started guessing then that it was going to be big. The line was basically the length, but we got there early, and the line was basically as big as the Avengers. And so we should have guessed that it was going to beat the Avengers. I mean, adjusted for inflation, I'm not sure where it sits compared to the Avengers. Probably neck and neck, I'd imagine. But yeah, it's good to finally have a new champion on the box office for however long it lasts. And I'm really, really, really interested to see how much it grosses in the long run, both domestically and worldwide.
Yeah, definitely. Especially this weekend, will it go the Avengers route to be the second movie to hit 100 million the second weekend? Or will it just miss?
I think it'll just miss.
We're going to have two big movies out. One big movie, but it's going to go head to head with Jurassic World with Pixar's Inside Out. So that would be interesting to see.
I don't see it making. See, I don't see it making less than 90 million next weekend. I think it'll be 94, 95 million next weekend. So Inside Out has its work cut out for it to beat it and not be the first Pixar movie. It's for the folks at home paying attention. Inside Out, if it does not if it doesn't top next weekend as the highest grossing film next weekend, will be the first Pixar's 15th and first feature to not open at number 1. So all 14 of Pixar's features so far have opened at number 1, including the first Toy Story.
Which means we all need to see Inside Out, everyone.
Inside Out.
Let's get to 100 million.
Likely going to break this record. I mean, all things have to come to an end, but over 20 years of number 1 films, and this is just, it needed Finding Dory this weekend. Finding Dory stood a chance. If Finding Dory was this week.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, it's yes, it's an original film, but early reviews have been fantastic. Buzz is now
are still high on Jurassic World. General audience is still high on Jurassic World, and Jurassic World is still going to take general audiences away from Inside Out.
Not necessarily. I mean, a lot of families saw this movie already in its first weekend. They're probably going to be like, well, let's go take our kids to see Pixar's new film instead of Jurassic World. We're watching it. So,
we're seeing it.
I think Jurassic World Inside Out is going to be close competition for number 1. Very close.
I want to believe you, but I think it's going to be at least 30 million difference.
Oh wow, I'm thinking like maybe 10 million, maybe if that's like
I think
the
it's going to
worst
be a
case
10 million
scenario.
difference.
It's
Okay.
this is weekend's hard because it could go
Yeah,
either way.
it's a hard one. But before we move on from Jurassic World, we should just note that it's already made over $500 million at the worldwide box office as well.
Hmm. Yeah, a lot of people, news sources, reporting it. I think when it comes to that, I think it's more like free buzz with headlines sort of thing.
Mm.
Just because not every movie can open like in nearly every single country at the same time.
Yeah, I
So
know.
I think that's more like a headline, but
Yeah,
it's
I
got
know. Most countries
it's
already
got
have
bigger
Jurassic
news now.
World.
Now it's the highest opening weekend now, so
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how far into it's definitely going to make $1 billion. It's just a question of how far into the billion it can go, I reckon.
yeah. This year is like really shocking
Yeah,
when
I
it
know.
comes to movies, because everyone's like, who's going to be number one? Is going to be either Avengers 2 or Star Wars 7. Those are the two movies that people were like
Universal.
away. And then I was like 7 and Jurassic World are just like
Universal comes in saying, haha, Disney, we've got two of our giants coming in. You didn't even expect it. It was like the dark horse, Universal. Disney thought it had 2015 its
uh,
own.
and I heard some like I think that Universal is like already way in the lead compared to everyone else, and it's going to be might be close with Disney, but we'll see in the long run when Star Wars comes out and Pixar's movies gets released.
Mm.
We shall see. So let's start with our predictions. You won last weekend. You got
Again.
four. You got 4 out of 5 right. The only thing you got wrong was Mad Max at number 5. And I got 2 out of 5. So you're now still in the lead with 15 and 12, and I'm on 12 for the year. So I'll go first. My predictions for this weekend is number 5, San Andreas will stay in the competition. Number 4, Spy. Number 3, Dope. Number 2, Jurassic World. And number 1, Inside Out. I can't put my favorite animation company in number 2.
Too
It's number 1.
optimistic, isn't it? You're going to lose pride. You know that? You're going to lose this game for pride.
Inside Out, 100 million or 200 maybe. I don't know.
Inside Out's lucky if it gets 70, honestly.
What?
It'll be.
Are you kidding me? I'm sure all the original Pixar films.
University didn't get 80.
Yeah, it did. It got $82 million in so
Oh, 82. Okay, well, it barely got 80. So I think as a prequel,
Pixar's original films tend to go from 65 to 70 million, but I think Up was in like 69 million. So
okay,
and with early buzz, and we all know it's Up and Monsters Inc. and first Pixar film in 2 years, I think it's going to get maybe 90 million.
Maybe
plus.
you're right. I hope you're right, but I think my prediction is 75 million for Inside Out. That's being optimistic. Anyway, because Minions is coming out soon too, and that's got a lot more marketing.
Yeah, but everyone will see Inside Out first, and then look at the Minions when it comes out.
Not kids. Anyway, so number 5, San Andreas. I agree. Number 4 and 3 for you. I've got number 1 and 2 for you. Yours switched around. Number 3 and 4. So number 4 I think is Dope.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is Spy. Number 2 is Inside Out, and number 1 is Jurassic World.
Oh, you're going to be so wrong. Next weekend goes around. Although we're not going to be able to talk about it next weekend, so
we'll find a way to talk about it. We'll find a way. It just won't be on Monday, probably.
Yeah. You're going to lose. Pixar.
Next week. I'm gonna try and find a way to get a stable internet connection before because last week we had a few technical difficulties because I wasn't in my regular location. Next week I won't be in my regular location either. So I will not. We won't start the broadcast until I've got a stable connection next week.
Okay, sure. And we'll let everyone know when on our Facebook page. So
cool. We'll let you know. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this week's Talking Film. Tune in whenever next week. When we'll announce it sometime next week. More likely maybe Tuesday to Friday between there. We're not going to be able to do Monday, unfortunately. But thanks for tuning in. Like our Facebook page at facebook.com/everythingfilm. I'm Daniel, and Nick's on the other side. Until next time, bye-bye.
Until next time. Thanks for watching.